asked a question about title tags.
Really more of the page or post title itself, and optimizing that. Like if I'm
Okay.
even like brainstorming on like content plan and putting together a list of articles coming up, like optimizing that title specifically for the keyword focus that kind of building a plan on.
Sure. So I'm presuming you've already done the keyword research.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so you have a keyword research universe document,
Yeah.
and you've organized that into different pages because you don't, some pages are gonna, most pages are gonna have a topic, and those are gonna topics that have several keywords.
Yeah.
Okay. So then have you started with the SEO blueprint, which kind of says, okay, here are the pages I already have. Here's the keyword focus area for each.
Right.
Okay. And so that from there you've decided, okay, I need to add some pages.
Right.
Okay, great. That's the right
Pages or blog articles, however you want to refer to that, but pages essentially, right?
Well, so I actually make a distinction between the two. And
Okay.
I think they're kind of a valuable distinction. And someone articulated it this way to me that helped. To think about your website like a hub and spoke system.
Mhm.
Landing pages are main pages that maybe exist in your main nav.
Mhm.
These are pages, because they are featuring a service or a product you offer, are going to be more salesy in nature.
Yeah.
Someone reading that is not offended when you say, and that's why you should contact us today.
Yeah.
And talk about how you do it better than others. A blog post, on the other hand, is informational in nature. And if it is too self-promotional, it loses credibility.
Mhm.
And so you can add at the end of a blog post, I think it's appropriate to say, oh, and by the way, we do this, so contact us if you need help. But the article itself should be neutral in perspective, altruistic in its generosity of providing solutions and answers. And then at the end, you can say, oh, and if you need help, call us, right?
Mhm. Or go to this page based on that service.
Right, and that's the hub and spoke idea. So you have one landing page focusing on a topic,
Mhm.
and then the blog posts each link to that same topic. So I have an SEO page on my website, and I have blog posts that mention SEO linking to the SEO page.
Right.
So what that does is a couple things. Number one, the internal links help the SEO page do better. Two, if you land on a blog post that's related to SEO in some way, the humans can get to there too. So it's a search engine advantage and a human advantage, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I approach landing pages very different than I do a blog post. So I'm definitely optimizing the landing page.
Mhm.
I only built a landing page because it's proven that people are looking for it. I know how people refer to it, and so I know what to optimize it for. With the blog post, I might know that people are asking this question, for instance. And so the problem is almost everything's already been written about, right? So what makes my blog post different or better than everybody else is always a challenge.
Mhm.
So in some ways, if I've identified a topic that I think someone wants to read, I think then that's great. But just even if I don't have that, I will still write a blog post about it, because I still get the value of that link in the hub and spoke system.
Mhm.
So when it comes to the headline or the topic of the title of the post, which is distinct from the title tag of the post, right?
Mhm.
Then the guidelines for that are, be direct about what you're talking about. And by that, I mean, don't use a cutesy, catchy title. Don't be nebulous or obscure or unclear about what you're talking about in your article. It's, we talk about, the other thing we talk about is evergreen. It needs to be always true. If it's dated in any fashion, a year from now, even if the article's still up to date, it's going to look out of date because it has a date associated with it.
Mhm.
Right. And ideally, these will ask a question that your article will answer. So if you can follow those guidelines, you're going to have a blog post that is clear and could get search engine traffic from people who might look for that. But let's say you're writing, like we had a client use some of its internal resources to write a bunch of blog posts for them. And apparently the writer working for the client fashioned themselves to be a good writer. So the titles of the blog posts were so nebulous and catchy that you had no idea what you would be reading about. And so we could see that nobody would click. We saw there's no impressions and no clicks. The article was good, and if you had gotten to it, you'd find out this is a very interesting article. But it didn't do well in the search engines because it wasn't clear what this article was about. This is where we run into problems with like social media people, because your title in the social media post is kind of probably should be clickbaity, right? Get the click, a little controversial, a little catchy, but that doesn't do well in search. So social media people sometimes do the worst job writing a blog article by the title because you don't know what you're getting. It might work well in social media to say, oh, this is kind of catchy and pithy. I'm going to read that article. But from a search engine perspective, tell me what it is. Make sure this article answers a question I'm asking.
Yeah.
Or tell me what the value is.
That makes sense.
Does that kind of answer the question you're asking?
Yeah, and essentially, as long as you're using your keyword research, I think, to help formulate that, you pretty much are optimizing it to the best of your ability or the direction that you're trying to achieve out of the gate. And then just monitoring how well it performs to notice if maybe it's getting no clicks or no traffic, right?
Well,
like no impressions.
Well, yeah, so that's the challenge, because if you're using keyword research to determine what you should write about in your blog, you might come up with article titles or topics that people have already written about. What is search engine optimization? There's probably about 50 billion articles on that topic on the internet. So if I were to write that because my keyword research said, oh, people want to know this, I might get 0 impressions, even though I might have the best answer to the question. So when it comes to blog posts, there might be a philosophy where you almost would ignore keyword research to do a blog post. Now, a better way to do it would be to make it uniquely yours. Relating it to your town. How search engine optimization can change a Charlotte-based business. So now it's something very different than everybody else has written about before. Maybe it's, what is search engine optimization for a lawyer? Okay, well, there might be a lot of articles on that, but you have a niche that you work with, so relate it to your niche. And now your article is not just like everybody else's article, right? So you kind of use the keyword research to give yourself an idea and then write the article. Does that make a little more sense? You're on mute, Tim.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine.
I was chewing and stuff, so
Oh, we appreciate
lunch is over.
that.
Thanks, Instacart. Cut that out of there, by the way. Yeah, no, that's what I was looking for, is like, and just what those things to consider when formulating that plan. And not to worry too much, I think, about trying to over optimize it, even if it's already been written. If I choose that that's the type of material that I want to put out, and still write good content, try to make it more maybe geographically relative or something like that, or industry specific. The more it can niche down, is the better.
Right. And I've seen companies obsess on search engine traffic to blog posts that really miss the point.
Mhm.
Like, even if nobody's clicking on your article, you still have an internal link to your page, which helps you from a search engine perspective. This is why we always recommend longer rather than shorter content. If you write 800 words on a question, even if someone's already answered it before, as long as your answer is unique, you might accidentally answer questions that you don't realize people are asking.
Yeah.
And you might get traffic for this aspect of your article, and then you can reevaluate. But if you did the very broad thing, what is web design? Right? Okay. You're never going to rank for that.
Yeah.
Right. Realistically,
Right.
you're even if you were to show up, it probably wouldn't do very good, because it might not be related to getting customers. Your customers might not be asking that question. It might be people looking for a change of career.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So to ask it that way, and then relate it to industries or locations or something unique, now you have found a niche. So you're kind of using the keyword research to generate ideas, not necessarily topics. And then what I find is just the practice of regularly writing. Sometimes you stumble into something that's really good. And that, like, almost all my clients have 1, 2, 3 blog posts that constantly drive traffic. And the vast majority of their blog posts just have a little trickle. That's okay. It's okay.
Right.
And because we have other advantages for having the articles on the site than just getting. So it would be a mistake, as some clients have been tempted to do, is to remove articles that are not getting any traffic from Google. Well, there's still value in those articles. Unless they're a duplicate or completely out of date or wrong. Okay. I'd still rather keep it up and improve it than kill it.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you have a bunch of redirections.
Right. That I have a client that's their last SEO person recommended they purge their blog. I told them don't. They did it anyway, traffic loss. Because we don't really like this article. Well, guess what? Google did, and sent a lot of traffic to your website. Why is there traffic down?
Oh man.
This is why you killed posts.
Oh man.
Better to improve them than kill them.
Yeah.
So.
All right.